GPS. Use GPS tracker on it.
Welcome again. We will begin our regular meeting portion. I know the first item calls for the pledge. I think that's,
I'll move it together.
yeah, since we've already done that. At this point, do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No, we do not.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented then.
So moved.
I'll second.
That motion is second. Discussion. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Audience participation. Are there members in the audience this evening that would like to speak to any of the agenda items? We'll have another chance here at the end of the meeting if Spirit grabs you. Thanks for being here. Section 2 is a consent agenda. Before we consider the consent agenda, are there any items on there that board members want to pull out to consider separately? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion then to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion and second. Any discussion?
Does this fill all our positions? This is my discussion.
I'm sorry?
Does this fill all our positions now?
It fills our certified positions. We wait. Pardon?
Go ahead.
We will wait on some of the 8 positions until we see numbers that actually show up versus those who have registered. But yeah, we're pretty much 100% right now, unless somebody's resigned over when I didn't know about it.
Last couple hours.
But we do have a couple of new hires here.
Yes.
So Mr. Hartley is here, and I think he will introduce.
So I'll start with Brianne Eisler. Brianne is a Central Michigan grad and has 2 years of experience in Arizona and Michigan, and she'll be teaching 3rd grade for us this year, so we're happy to welcome her.
Great. All right.
And then Tricia Whitmer. Tricia will be a music teacher at Washington and Jefferson, and Tricia is a Plymouth native and has been working in the Waunee district for the past several years doing elementary music, and we're really excited to have her added to our staff as well.
Yeah. I used to babysit. What? I used to babysit Tricia. Yes.
And a Manchester grad.
I think you can still vote, though.
I
Welcome to both of you. Any other comments? Okay, motion and second. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Section 3, business transactions. If I can just take a liberty for a second, I meant to do this as we were starting the meeting. Mr. Holloway obviously is not here this evening. On behalf of the board, I'm not going to speak for you, but I guess I will. On behalf of the board, we certainly extend our condolences in the passing of Pops. And that's why everybody calls him Pops. So our thoughts and prayers are with Larry and the family. Admittedly, I wasn't a close personal friend of Pops, but I feel like I was. I mean, just because of what he was in the community and who he was, and huge supporter he was at Plymouth Schools.
I'm the one big red supporter.
So our thoughts are with Larry and his family. Section 3, business transactions. Report on alternative school.
I'm going to introduce Mrs. Clevenger. Come on up. In the short, I would say in the short time I've been in the central office, I've come to find out that people at the Department of Education rely on Mrs. Clevenger for her expertise. So I think we're lucky to have her. I'll say that.
They've changed positions many more times than I have. I've been here for a while. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again for having me. It's always a pleasure to come here and report on the alternative school this year, 2012-2013. My students achieved great feats this year. For those of you who were there at graduation, I was front row on the right-hand side, snapping pictures. I like how they come up both sides now, but I only got half my kids. because of that. So I just wanted to show you some proud people, and they are great. I wanted to start out with the outcomes and eligibilities, and my outcomes, I inadvertently left STN numbers on them, so Sandy graciously covered me and took those out. I'm going to talk about those even though the slides aren't there. Every trimester, I create a spreadsheet with the students' names, and from those names, each student has to have an individual student plan filled out by the principals or the guidance counselors that tell the credits or courses they need. So what I do with that spreadsheet is list the courses as they complete them, and it's on a shared Google Docs with the administrators and the guidance counselors, so they know, what the students are achieving. Perhaps we can better plan for their second trimester. Also, this year, for the last couple of years, I've taught 4th hour at the high school, and things changed at the DOE late October, and they changed the maximum and minimum amount of time students attend an alternative school. So we had Plan B, and I went back to the alternative school all day and no longer teach in 4th hour. So some of the data that I'm going to represent comes from that 4th hour class. Whoops, I'm going to go back to eligibility. When Mr. Funkston and I filed our report, each student that we filed the report for, and that report won't be here either because I had the STN numbers on there. Each student has to have an eligibility. Before this year, it was one of those 5. They added 7 this year, and I'm so thankful because many of the students that would benefit by alternative school didn't fall under one of those first 5 qualifiers, so they added those, and that would be great. Each student that attends then alternative school and night school, last year we also entered night school to our grant, has to have an eligibility and an outcome filed at the end of the year. Mr. Funkston and I filed that in June. So the report that's not there shows each student by eligibility, and next year I'll remember to take off the STN numbers. This is the data comparison. This was from data up until this year, and I just wanted to put that in so when I get to the other slides, you will have some numbers to compare with. This was another one of the data entries that Mr. Funkston and I filed with the DOE. Shows the total number of students. Now it's going to show a lot more students this year than last year because we included our night school students in that. So we can disintegrate or digest, or I can't even think. Split up. There we go.
Segregate.
There we
I like
go.
disintegrate.
I love alternative school. I hate public speaking. Anyway, the most important number there is the 39 seniors that we had. That's the one that we seem to focus on the most. Also, some of these stats are also skewed because we can't count on our reports a student that has not been in attendance 10 days or has not achieved 2 or more credits. So say a student was taking a credit recovery class at the high school, had not finished, transferred to me, transferred to night school, we can't count them. So this is only the students we can count. There were more students than that serviced by those programs. And these are the outcomes. I don't really divide things by gender, but the state does. Earned diplomas. Of our 39 students, high school students that were seniors, 30 of those achieved diplomas. The 18 that attained their goals on their application form, we have to list the goals we want them to achieve throughout the year. 18 of them achieved goals. Some of those were 9th through 11th graders. Some of those were seniors that I had last year, the night school had, that we knew would probably be summer school or 5-year plan. So they may not have showed up in the graduation rates, but they went to summer school, and some of them are coming back to me too. And I want to see where we are. These are the credits students received, and that's broken down into our different departments that we service through credit recovery program. And That's about average with my years past at alternative school. Night school was a little low, and we added homebound and independent group home this year too to it, so that increased that a little bit. One thing, I want to see what the next slide is, since she took them off, I have all my notes. Yeah, I want to add to this too, is our alternative school grant serviced 39 seniors, 11 11th graders, 6 10th graders, and 8 9th graders total. And then alternative school separately, I had 32 seniors. 27 of those graduated, 5 of those are non-graduates, 3 are returning to alternative school this year. We had planned on them to do that last year. And 1 student moved but is continually to work online. Actually, the 3 that are returning to me next year have been working all summer, some better than others, but they've been working all summer. 1 student has moved and we have no contact for, and we tried to get that. I'm texting people looking for them. Our Novanet program and credit recovery program has really grown over the years. The courses that we have purchased through Novanet Pearson and the 8 Moodle classes that I've developed with the English department, I share those with, of course, our alternative school, PHS credit recovery classes during the day, the after-school night program, BHC, and homebound and group instruction. And the Widener School purchased 10 grants to use in their own unique, they didn't purchase 10 grants, 10 ports, 10 systems to use in their own unique setups there too. So that's really grown. I want to give you a little snapshot of what we're looking at for next year. When I made this report, it was in July. We had 22 applications at July. Of course, after registration, that grew a lot. To date, we have 19 students enrolled in alternative school. 7 of those are 5th-year seniors. Of course, 3 of those were mine. The others from the high school. 4 of those are expected to make the October 1st graduation deadline rate. So a lot of good things happened at alternative school this year. We increased our Core 40 diplomas by 6. We had 1 honors Core 40 diploma. We had 3 juniors that entered alternative school in the fall that made graduation, early graduation this year. We had 4 babies this year, and all the moms graduated. We had 3 seniors that were slated as 5th-year students to come back this year that attended half a day at Plymouth, half a day at alternative school, and night school, and they made June graduation. We had many first-year high school graduates, many enrolled in college, first generation enrolled in college students. And all of this is possible, of course, through PHS guidance department, the principals, the Plymouth High School teachers, all my administrators. I swear some people are going to put a block on my email sometimes. My students taught me a lot this year, as always. I can strum a few bars on a ukulele. I know that I should buy a lift kit for my truck. I got a new iPhone that I didn't know how to operate and erased my contacts 20 times, and they've always fixed it for me. And I also used it for my favorite mode of wake-up calls at 7 a.m. for many of them to get up to by texting them. I am really committed that you always have to have a plan B. I'm committed to be committed and to have compassion and to love my kids, and that's why it all works. Thanks. Anybody have any questions?
One thing I want to mention is that the growth of Novanet and how we're using it in school inquiry, VHC, and Susie does all the training for that and helps us out tremendously. So,
After that,
I got a new title
she
this
is
year.
now the department head of
I have a
alternative
department.
education.
I know.
A little bit of a snipe that we did.
I didn't even know that. I do.
Don't put that lift kit on your truck.
Yeah.
Don't tell Clevy, though.
I know. I won't. Do you have any other questions?
I just want to make a comment. I just continue to be amazed at what you do and how much you care for the kids, and I just really appreciate it.
You know, when we were showing some of those pictures up there, I mean, sometimes we laughed so hard this year. some of the things they do. We cried too, but we laughed, they learned a lot, we had a great time, it's a great group, and I could never work somewhere where I can't hug my kids because they deserve it. They deserve it, they worked hard.
And Mrs. Clevenger and her students are also getting new gigs.
Oh,
Well, I was gonna
if
ask
you
her-
are my Facebook friend, you could watch that. I've been putting updates on it.
So no more duct tape, huh?
No, but I got leopard duct tape this year and put on the windows, so I updated. Yeah, it's great, it's great. And we're on hold. I may start the first couple of days over at the high school, probably. Dave Schoaf was,
Playing on it, but
Yeah.
Schoaf, he's probably over there working on it right now.
he said my cupboards were in. Different than the rest of the building over there, I didn't order new furniture because I just got it a couple of years ago, so I don't have to wait on that. But yeah, stop in sometime. And I have a smart board. I've never used one, but I'll learn how.
Kids will show you.
The kids will show me. The kids will show me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Keep up a good job, Susie.
Thank you.
Who wants to follow that?
Policy and guidelines.
Yeah. 3.2, policies and guidelines, second reading, transfer student policy.
Yeah, are there any questions? This is Indiana code that was passed and required us to create these policies, so second reading.
So what's before us is to either follow state law or not.
Basically, yes. Yep. They call this the Kokomo rules, what I've heard, where basically the law keeps districts from cherry picking kids. Yeah.
This is our second reading, so this is an action item. Do I have a motion on the policies and guidelines regarding transfer students?
I move we accept the policies and guidelines.
Have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are going to follow state law. That's good. 3.3, receive copies of extracurricular financial reports.
Every year, we have those available to anyone, and they are reviewed every 2 years by the State Board of Accounts. But these are the reports we receive from the various buildings, by building, and it's basically their finances for the year. And they have closing documents, and so we have those available.
So those are available for anybody who wants to review those, not an action item, right? So, thank you. 3.4, consider nursing agreement with St. Joe.
Yes, this would be our second year working with St. Joe Regional Med Center to provide our nursing staff. And it increased slightly, which we were expecting, I think in total about $3,000, which I believe they had an increase in insurance. So, but we have the same staff, and like I said, we gained an extra person when we went with St. Joe. So I've reviewed it as well as Mr. Hurian, and I'd like you to sign the agreement.
Other than a slight cost increase, no other changes in the agreement.
No, no changes.
Per the recommendation, do we have a motion regarding the nursing agreement with St. Joe Regional Med Center?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Discussion.
I think it's worked out quite well, hasn't it, Candy?
Yes.
We're nothing but positive.
Yeah, this is year 2, year 1, yeah.
Yeah, year one, there was just a few, just minor things to work out, and we managed to work it out.
The best part of it is that we knew nothing about these medical dictates that would come down the line. And the regional supervisor is a RN, and when something comes down the line, she knows exactly what it is, and she knows how to implement it with the gals. And it just got to the point, Robbie and I would look at each other and go, what do we do? And so we couldn't find someone to take over the head of nursing, or the head, people kept quitting, they didn't want to be in charge. And so it's been a great partnership. Fantastic.
Let's see, we have motions. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 3.5, thought we'd never get here, did you, Ted? Introduction of school resource officer.
Yeah, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Ted Brown tonight. I suppose, we probably didn't need to do this, but I thought it was important to have Ted come to the meeting. And, Ted being a Plymouth grad, continues to be a football coach. To me, the most important thing about a resource officer is creating relationships with kids. When you got a good relationship with kids and you're a police officer, you can stop things before they happen. You can stop kids from getting in trouble. And Ted is that type of person. He's just a magnet to kids, yet he's ultra professional at the same time. So we're about 2 sentences away from an agreement on the job description, but we're still closing in on that. But the main thing about that job description is creating that relationship with those kids. He's going to spend about 60% of the time in the high school, 40% of the time in the junior high. So he's really going to get to know those kids at that pivotal age at the junior high. We've got both Jim and Ted dressed in their police blue. We wanted people to be able to pick them out if they needed somebody. So they've been working together quite a bit, and we're just happy to have him aboard. I watched that active shooter training, and it's no longer do you wait for SWAT to get there. You go in, and if I had my kid in the school, or my wife in this case, I would feel very good with Ted Brown being there to take care of things if there was an issue. So, Ted, welcome aboard, and would you like to say anything to...
Does anybody have any questions for me? I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm learning as I go. I'm very excited about this opportunity. I've talked to Jim several times. I thank you for the opportunity. And you're right, it is all about relationships. My training, when I went over to Fort Wayne, my instructor, he was a SRO for over 30 years in Alabama, and he was amazing. Just the stories that he was able to tell us and convey to us. I can't wait to start building these relationships with these children in the event that something bad would happen, that I can't prevent something. Our training was outstanding. I don't know who all got to see it. You guys got to see some of the good things and the bad things, but that's why we train. So that's going to be a little different. Him and I have some different ideas, but the safety of the children is first and foremost. I have 2 daughters in this school corporation, so obviously I will be spending a majority of time at the high school. My daughter's at the junior high, and I might sneak over Riverside once in a while to see if we can look too. So, but I thank you. Does anybody have any questions for me?
You always turn that shade of red.
I'm hot. I don't really mind speaking anymore. Over my last 19 years as a police officer, I've kind of learned that it comes with it. So.
I'm glad to see Brown in his capacity, being a former student and athlete and Plymouthite, and he's familiar, can identify, and would be a tremendous asset as well as Jim.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
And he's a Boilermaker.
Yes.
We just took a turn for the worse.
I'm about one of the biggest Boilermakers.
Yeah, just look back into your truck.
Well, we've covered a lot of safety issues tonight, and I want you guys to know that there's things that you have ideas, things that we wouldn't even think of. We're here to support. We don't have unlimited money, we don't have unlimited resources, you all know that. But we do have almost unlimited support for this school, and safety is paramount, so let's communicate and let's, whatever questions, we're with the government, we're here to help.
No, that's, trust us, we're with you. Carol.
Carol?
Could I ask, who does he actually report to?
Who is he?
He being
He
Mr.
is a police officer, and he reports to the chief, the assistant chief. When he's working with us, if he has a question about, should I be here or there, most of the time Jim will take care of that, but, there may be time when the principal needs him to come someplace, and so, he's gonna learn the territory, but the police, the chief and the assistant chief are his supervisors.
Okay.
Can I add to that too?
Yeah.
For the past year, the Plymouth Police Department, we've already put officers in the schools at random times. I've worked at the high school, I've been a coach, I think, for 13 years now. And for whatever reason, I get a lot of the calls already at the high school, so I don't mind working with people. It doesn't really matter who my boss is, because at the end of the day, I have to do the right thing. And so I can answer to him, I can answer to him. It's not an issue, we got a job to get done, so.
When you hire people like that, you usually don't worry about a boss. They just get the job done.
I'm just assuming the question will come up about.
Yeah, he's a policeman.
About how that works in this.
He's a policeman.
I think this is an introduction, not an action item.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3.6, consider transfer students.
We have a pretty good list of transfer students. And the policy says that we'll do this a little differently this year, although in the last 3 years, we have turned down one student that has applied. But the way we're doing it this year is we are calling, just when we get this in, we're calling to find out if they're on an expulsion. If they're not on an expulsion, we ask if they've been suspended for violence, using weapons, whatever the state law says. If they haven't done that, then we accept them. So it'll be a little bit faster of a process this year, but we will definitely check out the students to make sure we're not taking somebody who's been expelled for bringing a gun to school or something like that. So I would ask you to approve the transfer students so we can go in school next week.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion.
Approximately how many, Dan, have we taken in or approved?
There's 26 on this list, and I stopped on July 1st. I stopped admitting them, so there were quite a few before that. I don't have numbers to present to you tonight. We are about 50 students up at the elementary schools. There are some new rules that were being promulgated at this time, where it's kind of in question whether BHC is going to continue to be under Plymouth or not. There's also some rules about students who are getting the choice scholarship and whether the ones that go to St. Michael's would be our responsibility to educate in special ed, which both would affect our numbers. The BHC situation, we have a contract with them. They had to notify us by March 15th if they didn't want our services. So they have us for 1 more year. If the way I read that statute is correct. St. Michael's, the real concern, and I talked to the superintendent from the South Bend Fort Wayne Diocese today, the real concern of the Catholic schools is that the public schools are just going to say, we're not going to help you anymore. And I said, well, that's not the case with us. We just want to know what the rule is, we want to know what our budget numbers are. We'll contract services to you if that's what you want, because most of your students become ours eventually, so I kind of look at that. So I would say we're probably in the transfer range, we're probably close to 50 to 60 this year. And there were 4 or 5 of them on mailbox this morning, so that just keeps going. And it's, it ensures that we are financially sound and can continue to provide programs for the kids that we need to.
We have a motion and second. Any other discussion?
Well, I just think some of the comments that the parents put on the bottom of those forms speak well of the corporation, and it shows that the reason that they want their son or daughter to come to our school corporation. So I think that's a feather in our cap.
All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Section 4, superintendent remarks, Dan.
As I go through the core value remarks tonight, if you want to look at the monitors, what I did today is go around, I took pictures of all the schools, and you'll see the first slide, each one, we'll pause it. Let's go back. I'll start with the insides of Jefferson. Will be preceded by the picture of the outside of Jefferson, so you'll know where you are. So, commitment to students. I'd like to thank the Plymouth Police Department, Marshall County Sheriff's Department, and all the other agencies who were involved in the active shooter training. I was very impressed, and I thought it was very important for our administrative team to see something like that right before school started. I think it's really a catalyst to be safe. I know we have to provide security for kids. 4.2, caring. I'd like to thank Cellular Connection and Verizon for their offer, and I guess they gave away 150 free backpacks last weekend to students, and hopefully a lot of them were ours. High expectations, 4.3. Just big pat on the back to David Shove. He took on a lot of projects this summer, and I know we're going to be in Lincoln Junior High, and we're going to get into Riverside. We didn't plan on getting into the high school project until October, and it's still touch and go, but we're really close at the service center. 4.4, team player. The one-stop registration was the best it's ever been. We had nothing but great remarks from people. Next year, we're going to tell parents if they want to pay by credit card ahead of time, they don't even have to show up to it. So I'd like to thank all of the administrators and our clerical teams for their assistance. Mr. Condon is in charge of that, and Mrs. McGuire is his cohort in that endeavor. 4.5, integrity. Not only do we hire the best teachers, but we make sure that our teachers are the best prepared for the rigors of the classroom. And this week the induction program is going on, and the teachers are working hard getting ready for their classes. 4.6, band camp started last week, athletics started this week. They're all thankful to have to start without the heat and humidity they usually have. Also, our condolences to Larry Holloway and his family for the passing of his father. Tomorrow night, celebration for the life of Frank Pops Holloway will be held at Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Our next meeting is Tuesday, September the 10th, at this location at 7 o'clock, and that's all I have.
Any questions for Dave? Thanks, Steve. If not, anything else from the audience? Appreciate your attendance. And at this point, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.